The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
We are looking for businesses here in Martin County that have vehicles or fleets.
Okay.
It would be a great fit with Crown Car Care. 2 locations. We have one in Stewart, one in Palm City. We specialize in working on fleets, putting together a package unique to your company and implementing it. We can tailor it to how you want.
Yeah, fleets would be perfect for your setup.
And my wife, Tamara,
mm-hmm.
She can be reached over at our Cove Road store or our Palm City store. If you ask for her, she'll get back with you and put together a package for you.
Nice.
And we've been doing that. She just put together 2 packages for two fairly large fleets probably in the past 2 weeks.
Nice.
So it's working.
Yeah.
It works out. And fleets love us because we have 2 locations, and that's the difference.
That's big part. And the other big part is that's going to mean little shorter downtime.
Right.
More and better use of their vehicles.
Well, very few shops have 2 shops. So we have both one, one in Palm City, which is out west a little bit, one east. And we both shops can do diesels. I'll repeat that. Both shops can do diesels. We can do fleets. We can do module programming. We can do advanced diagnosis. We can do routine maintenance packages, put together a plan for you. We like to enter it, get all your vehicles entered in the system so we have a record of it. That way we can put together a timely maintenance package, so you know when to do things, which prevents failures and repairs.
Right.
Good maintenance prevents repairs.
Nothing is more frustrating for a business owner than having one of their employees by the side of the road waiting for a wrecker to come to collect their car.
Oh, hark, I hear a sound.
Yeah. Hark, I hear the phone. Yes.
Oh, right.
You are on the air. Go ahead, caller.
Hello, Todd. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, Newman.
I have a complaint.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The AC is too darn cold.
Oh, I like that kind of complaint.
Woo.
You can hang meat in that thing, right?
Well, just roll down the window.
I tell you, it's colder than it was brand new. It's really, really good.
Well, I'll tell you what, if
bad, whichever the case.
If you're a fish eater, if you come over to my Cove Road store, I can give you some fresh fish, cichlids, and you can fillet them.
What about our place? Are we like low class over here?
Frank is working on it.
We're working on it.
Frank's working on that one.
It's on our to-do list.
It has something to do with a big TV screen.
You put Frank on it.
Yeah.
He's putting together.
It may never get done.
Yeah.
It's something called virtual reality or AI.
He's got too many jobs, Todd.
I know.
He's too busy.
That's what keeps me young, buddy.
He was at Frank this morning. Was at every Wednesday. I'm a member of an organization called the Martin County Business Exchange, and Frank was there to greet me and open the door for me. So he was there.
Networking.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was fabulous. And Frank.
All right. Well, I'm going to get off the air and listen to your dulcet tones.
Outstanding.
Wow, thank you.
We're gonna
I know you're going. Please. This guy can handle fleets.
Yes.
He's got a 50,000 square foot building.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You could take all kinds of 18-wheelers.
Well,
well,
a lot of tractors. Maybe not the trailers, but the tractors.
Yeah.
The tractor. All right,
buddy.
All right.
Thank
Trying
you.
to build you up. Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
We got
Charlie.
it. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
That's Crown Charlie.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to elevate him from Palm City to Crown Charlie.
Crown. He's the king.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
Crown Charlie. We love him.
I like it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Well, what did we do last week, Frank? Let's lead into this because this is we got some good information. This is one of our specialties here at our radio station is we test drive vehicles and we report on them.
Yes.
So
Thursday, we had a scheduled appointment to test drive a Lucid Air down in West Palm Beach. I met you at your office at 10 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, we were
Well on our
already.
way.
Yes.
We actually parked.
We were, yes, we
Parked
were in the
there.
parking garage, right next to where the Lucid Air
Yep, we
studio
walked- we
is. They
walked
call
through-
it a studio.
Well, I'll tell you, it was nice.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the whole experience from walking in to how they treated us and what I can talk about the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Everything. We'll start from the beginning. We parked in a City Place parking garage.
Right.
It was the 3rd floor. We took an escalator down through City Place, and if you haven't been to City Place, it's kind of matured. I don't know how it was built in late 90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it's very swanky.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Good word. Yes, good word choice. Mhm.
It's swanky. I don't know
Yeah.
how everything's pricey, so bring your wallet.
So,
But it was an interesting, pleasant
upper
stroll.
crust.
Upper crust. It
Yeah.
was high end.
Yeah.
We walked through near the fountains. They have a big
Mhm.
fountain that kids play in, and they do live music there. And there was restaurants and all kinds of high end stores that I couldn't afford.
Right.
But we walked through it, and then we walked right around the corner by Roos Chris Steakhouse, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and it faces not Australian, but it faces that Okeechobee,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of right, probably 4 blocks up from Kravis Center.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, same side of the road. It's a studio. I would say it's a studio. It's pretty cool.
Very
right?
well appointed.
So when we walked up, there was 3 cars out front.
Yes.
3 cars. One of them had its lights on. I believe the middle one.
Yeah.
Right?
Taillights. Yeah.
Taillights were on.
Yeah.
And something was mumbled about updates, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I heard.
Right.
Okay,
They
we'll talk about that later.
They do live over the air updates on.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yes.
that too, because I got a story to tell about that.
Okay,
Live
sure.
updates.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So when we got there,
Mhm.
the doors were locked, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. We
Right.
rattled.
But
the
our
doors.
salesman, who was named
Vincent.
Vincent, greeted us, saw us
Mhm.
coming, greeted us out front, and first he asked us if we wanted any water, if I'm not mistaken, or a beverage.
Correct.
And he told us that they were just finishing up a meeting and momentarily they would allow us in.
Yes.
Right? We were the only ones there, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
But when we were there was some other people there once we did our thing, I think. Or wasn't there?
I think it was just the sales team is all I saw.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
might fit in with some of my story later.
Okay.
Okay. So we walked in the door. First, I had to go to the bathroom. And I can tell you the bathroom is top notch. I mean,
John would be impressed.
it's all expensive fixtures, automatic lighting. There was scent control with some kind of, odor coming out to
Yes.
make it pleasant.
Right.
It was unbelievably modern yet organic, because I think that's kind of the
feel that they're going for. Mhm.
Am I correct?
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
like it grew from the earth, but in 1,000 years from now.
And their color choice for all their appointments inside the studio mirrors the way they do their cars, which is kind of interesting.
Now, after I came out from the bathroom, he gave me a water. And then I believe you had already registered or given your driver's license. I had to give mine, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then he started. Now, the inside of this place it reminded me of an updated version of what you would see like in that Frank Sinatra modern rancher type home in California, that
Yes.
Malibu look almost, but modern.
Mhm.
Woods, there was horizontal woods. The everything seemed to be very horizontal, right? The
Yeah.
lines of the infrastructure of even the chairs and the seating were horizontal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Not a lot of vertical, but horizontal. I guess that's the look, and I liked it. A lot of light woods, and then there was some dark wood. I noticed that on the table where I presented my driver's license, there was, and he didn't explain this to us until after we had done our test drive.
Mhm.
There was all these like like chunks of color and looks like cloth and seating and leather.
Right.
But we didn't know about that. When we first got in, I had no idea what that was.
All the samples for the selections that you can make.
Right. But we didn't find that out.
Right.
So I'm describing this experience because it was completely professional, completely entertaining, enjoyable, answered every question that we had truthfully.
Yeah.
There was nothing deceptive, nothing hidden from us.
Right.
Nothing. And he had a outgoing, yet not pushy, more on the informative side.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a car guy.
Yeah.
Right? I think he was, because he had an older BMW that was asking us about for me to repair it, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And he had worked in a motorcycle shop building old classic antique motorcycles. So the guy knew what he was talking about.
Right? I think he worked at an Indian shop. Mm-hmm.
And he looked like you're 20-something. He had a couple tattoos on his arms, which is not a bad, looked good. He was dressed in black, if I'm not mistaken. They were all dressed in black, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had black on.
Yep.
Probably a requirement, I would think.
It matches with the whole ambience in the studio.
Did it seem to you, Frank, that everything seemed to be carefully constructed from the presentation to even some of the words he used?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I noticed that some of the words he used in his dialogue on explaining to us seemed his, yet at the same time seemed crafted by people other than him. Even though it sounded genuine from him, but it was just it was smooth. Right. It was straight from that. What's that street in New York where they do the ads and stuff?
Oh, Madison Avenue.
It sounded like right from Madison Avenue at the highest level.
So he, to back up just a bit, he did tell us during our ride that that the West Palm Beach studio sold more cars than any other of their offices throughout the country.
Correct.
And that he was this past month the top salesman. So we spoke to
the best of the best.
Correct.
And he knew his product.
Yes.
I'm going to say
we didn't stump him. The only
there was something you stumped him. I think you stumped him, didn't you?
I did.
I believe you stumped him
on a pretty, ubiquitous thing.
You got him.
He didn't know how to answer it.
Yes.
Which was that was stunning to me. But I asked him about the lenses for the lights.
Yes, you had asked him, and that I'm going to give you. I have not a backstory, but I have something interesting now.
And to be honest with you, it was just an observational question. There was no.
There wasn't a hook. You didn't have you did not have an answer that you were waiting to push out once he gave you his.
Correct.
And that's where a lot of people do.
Yes.
In our position as media people or radio people, they'll have the answer, what they call the real answer.
Right.
They'll bait them into saying what they're going to say, and then they do the gotcha.
Correct.
You didn't have a gotcha. You just were genuinely interested.
It was a curious question.
I believe some of the cameras are built into those lenses.
Ah.
They are.
Okay.
Just keep that thought in mind as we progress through our stories.
All right.
Okay. Interesting, though. We did comment, though, you and me, when he was, I believe he went in to get water. He was not, with the key. Remember the cars, one of the batteries, the middle one was being updated.
Correct.
And I don't know, he stumbled him and he got the wrong set of keys.
That's right.
He got the wrong set of keys. And when he went back in to get the right set of keys, you and I said something about, boy, the cost of this thing would be crazy. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
As we continue our journey.
Okay.
Because I may have some information regarding that.
Okay.
And I was the first driver. And he asked me or you let's talk about when he opened the doors up.
Yeah.
Because he had quite a presentation on
the
trunk or the front. They call it the front, the thing in the front, the cavity where
where
the engine would have been on a normally ICE or internal combustion engine.
Yep.
He walked around and showed us pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And he talked about how you open it in the front. He opened the doors. He talked about the wood, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I commented that at that point, the smell. He opened the door, and I was standing out there basically on Okeechobee Avenue for the most part. and I smelled a waft of the wood as he opened the door.
Yeah.
I smelt the wood.
It's not an overpowering.
Do you remember what the I can't think what it was, walnut or maple or something, but it was he made the point of saying that it was care was taken in the growing of it, that it was preserving our environment in a smart way, or how it was grown. It wasn't
specially sourced.
Sourced. That was the word he used.
Yes, he used the word sourced. And generally, when people are using exotic woods or hardwoods, the routine is if you harvest one tree, you plant 3. So that's
a
how
3 for 1.
Correct. So when you do that, harvesting the trees doesn't become a issue.
Yes. Okay, let's cut to the chase. I got in the car. No, there was one other incident that happened, and it was a small incident.
All right, refresh my memory.
Well, it was up in the frunk.
Okay.
You picked something up.
Oh yeah.
Don't you remember? To me, that was the moment. I knew I had to do a deep dive.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was like a little washer of some sort.
And that was from the car.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't comment on that, but we're going to talk at the end of this.
Okay.
Because our experience, I will say, even before I give you my final review on the car, before I give you some details that I did some research on, quite a bit actually, it was great. But you found a small thing.
A little washer.
Now, what was interesting was, now
here's
the one thing I'm going to say that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You handed it to him.
Yes.
And he didn't say a word.
That's correct.
He didn't say a word about it. He took it and kept it. And you said something. And then I said something to maybe diffuse the situation, because it almost became awkward. It was a weird spot because it was just a little teeny thing.
So let me back up where
because you picked it up, you gave it to him.
Well,
almost like,
here's
if I didn't know any better, you had thrown that thing in there to set it, but it wasn't. I saw the thing before you picked it up.
Well, exactly. Being a salesman, in my background, if I was showing somebody a car and I saw something that looked out of place, I would have
quickly picked it up without them seeing it.
Correct.
I'd say, look over here, and I would have.
Yeah, I would have, gracefully removed it so it would not.
And if he saw me do it, I would have said, "Oh, the customer must have dropped something in there." I don't know, but he didn't.
Right. So
and he didn't comment on
it. Crazy.
And
but he left it there. So I said, "Okay, I got to."
You did say it. You did. You gave it to him. You did.
I did, and I felt, you're right. It was kind of an awkward moment, but I was just trying to, because it was such a beautiful interior part of the front trunk.
Yeah, but
and that little washer just was making
that breadcrumb that you picked up. What wasn't there a book written about a
breadcrumbs?
Hansel and Gretel. Is it Hansel and Gretel?
It could be.
Okay. That breadcrumb led me down somewhere.
Okay, down a rabbit trail.
I'm going to talk about.
Okay, all right.
It has to do with a lot of things, but then it was. And what surprised me most, now that car didn't just arrive there. So he told me that car's been to the East Coast.
Right.
He had driven that car to the East Coast for a sales presentation.
Yes.
So either that was always there.
He said that was part of the charge. He said that washer was part of the Charger thing.
I don't know what it is, but I can tell you it's a retainer for a trim piece is what it is. It's one of those flat tin washers that's kind of real thin sheet metal that's made to look like a nut.
Right.
That just grabs one thread as it spins on the bolt. Right. Whereas a nut will have like 2 or 3 threads that grab onto it. It's grabbing one thread as it spirals down the barber pole, which we call the bolt.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. Yes.
Okay. But it was part of the car. It was not part of a Charger.
Okay.
Because that would never be part of a charging handle assembly because of the tin nature of it. It's a trim piece.
Yeah.
But what gets me is it had to have been there through several sales presentations. And that's what I find ironic.
Yeah.
We're talking about this little washer, but I'm telling you, I could talk about this the whole show. It's just as fascinating.
Okay.
That it was a brand new car.
Yeah.
And it was sitting in there. And it was plain as day.
Yeah.
It was.
It was making me crazy.
I know, but you're talking $180,000 car.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
It was there.
it destroyed the look. So I had to pick
You
it up.
plucked it.
Yes.
You plucked the
I
nut
did.
and you handed it to him and he didn't say anything. Okay, so enough of that.
Okay.
I got in the car. Now he had to move it because it was interestingly enough, and I don't know how this works, but they were actually on the sidewalk.
Yes.
And when he went down and moved the car, we ran it when he got off. It was actually the wheel. I suspect it was probably the handicap ramp to get on the sidewalk is what he drove down because part of the wheel went off of the sidewalk and into the dirt and took a hit. Do you remember that? It took a bump because
Yeah.
I asked him about it.
It was a very gentle bump, but it was a bump.
It was
yes.
a bump. It
Yes.
wasn't weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Cars weren't supposed to be where they were.
Now he did tell us on the return
But they were
trip,
redoing some renovations that they're working with the landlord. Well, if they last that long. No.
Okay.
If they last that long.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So I'm driving the car. And he went down the street and he like backed into where I believe there was a couple dumpsters where a garbage truck would pick up the dumpsters from a restaurant.
Mhm.
That was where it was.
Yeah.
And he gave me the wheel.
Yes.
Interesting. And now one of the things that was fascinating was, and I will just,
I sat in the back seat and he sat.
We were able to see around the corner. And we also saw a bird's eye view top down, which I thought was cool.
The 360. Yes.
That was unbelievable. Total blind spot. Have you ever, my listening audience, been pulling out of an intersection or an alley and you can't see around the corner and there's a speeding car coming? Happens to me all the time.
Sure.
You see them with this.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it, but you see what's coming around the corner and it projects it on to the screen.
Yeah.
There was 3 driving modes for regenerative braking, which we're not going to get into, but we can if everybody wants to.
Yeah.
About how it regenerates the electricity on the braking. We've talked about this.
It takes a little bit of getting used to.
But there was different levels.
Yes.
I think I wanted the highest level.
Yeah.
So I'm down now. I'm in City Place. And he asked where we wanted to drive. Now let's talk about this charge. The charge was fairly low on this because this wasn't
only 50
this
miles
was
left.
not the car that he was going to have us drive.
Right.
The car that he was going to have us drive was the one that was updating,
Correct.
flashing. So we drove a different one, which didn't have much range. I didn't care though.
No, well, we're only going around the block.
Well,
so
you'll know why I didn't care because I drove that sucker hard.
You did. Yes, you did.
Because did I ask him though if I could?
Yes,
And
we
he
did ask for permission.
And
yes.
I drove.
We didn't do anything that was not
uncalled for,
right, and it wasn't approved,
except for the washer and the truck.
It was investigative.
It was just it's the littlest things.
Yes.
What was it with Watergate with Nixon? It wasn't just it was
the cover up, not the break in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
It was just a little thing.
Yes.
But it led me to do some investigative work.
Right.
I might not have done it had we not found that.
Right.
That was from the factory.
Yeah. That's good to know.
That's a quality control issue.
Okay.
Remember that.
Okay.
Quality control.
Okay.
I believe when we started driving, I asked him about the service center and where you buy them at. Let's take a break first.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do that.
Time's flying on this one.
I know it. We'll be right back. So we'll pick up this story on the other side of this break. So stick with us. We're back.
As we continue this journey
Yes.
while I'm driving, I will say this: I would buy the car.
Yeah.
If it was the price,
If you had
the money, the means, and it would be a
Right.
choice. Okay,
Right.
so I'll say that because there's going to be some revealing truths that I'm going to get to.
there was a lot of wow factor.
Oh my
from-
gosh, it was
Yes.
the fit and finish of the inside of that vehicle, the smells, the leather, the color combinations, the way the layout is, the touch and feel, the ergonomics, the design.
And I like the whole nautical approach. They refer to the
Yes.
dashboard as a binnacle.
Yeah, you
Mm.
caught that.
Yes.
And a lot of horizontal.
Yes.
The dash was very
Yes.
horizontal, just like their design studio.
Right. It reminded me of the Pontiac.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
I don't think I
Pontiacs.
would have come up with that.
Yeah.
Daggone it, you're smart. No, that's a genius. I would have never
Yeah.
made that comparison, but I fully understand it.
Yes.
Okay. I asked him if I could do whatever I want on the car, and he said, of course. We came to a traffic light. I put my foot
There was a little bit of instruction as to
on how to
do
do this,
Yes.
launching it. I put
Yeah.
my foot on the brake and buried the accelerator to the floor.
Yes.
When that light turned green, the right foot was on the pedal. It never moved.
Right.
So it's buried. This
Right.
thing's all the way to the metal.
Right.
Pedal to the metal.
Yes.
I did not release that thing on purpose. And he said, release when you see the bear, release the brake. And the light, the light changed.
Now
I-
they call that what, bear mode?
Yeah, bear mode.
Well, everything has got a California
Yeah,
feel to
Yeah,
it.
it was cute. I mean, I
Yeah.
liked it. I was
Yeah.
tickled to death.
Yeah.
I released the brake.
You
Frank,
did.
can you tell us how fast we were going across the intersection?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what happened. I'm sitting in the back seat, and there in the center console, there was a little pocket where I rested my cell phone, and it flipped out of that pocket and made a couple of midair flips, ended up in the back pocket, and it was.
It was 1,000 horsepower.
It was
1,000 horsepower.
So in the time it took for us to go through that intersection, which is how long is an
I don't
intersection?
know. It's probably 40 feet,
40 feet,
50 feet, maybe
right?
50 max.
Okay, in 50 feet, you went from 0 to 60 in 50 feet.
And all my blood was in the back of my brain, every bit of it. You almost get dizzy, delusional. It was that fast.
Yeah.
And the second time I really drove this,
And we didn't turn the tires. So you don't turn the tires.
no,
on
because
these.
there's some, it's
So much-
all-wheel drive,
Yeah,
and
so
there
it's-
is a management system that manages it. So it gives you maximum torque per wheel to the point of breaking loose and managing that.
right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
There was another question you asked him thinking about this. It had to do with tire life.
Yeah,
There was a little bit of stumbling.
there was.
You caught him again. Number 2 question that you caught him on. We were driving, and it was by the airport. So, at the airport, Palm Beach Airport, there's a loop that you can go around the airport, and it's not really part of if you ever watch Jay Leno's Garage, whenever he tests like very high-end, expensive, rare vehicles, he gets permission to go into the Los Angeles airport, and he test drives it in that ring.
Okay,
That's
sure.
kind of where we were. It was
Yeah.
like a private road, but it wasn't. And then
It's like a service road.
right, and then I got on. After that was over, I got on an entrance ramp going up, and I asked him if I could really hammer it around the corner, and I did, and
Mhm.
it really handled.
Yes.
You remember when I
Hug-
on that one?
Oh, yeah.
You probably
It
felt
hugged
that
the
you
corner.
probably were thrown from
Yeah.
one door to the
And
other.
I deliberately didn't put my seatbelt on when we first got in the car.
Yes.
And I, I was slow in doing that.
Nobody told us.
Yes, I did that on purpose.
Oh, you're clever, Frank, because the question with the tire semi caught him.
Yeah.
He didn't know it because he was dancing
Yeah.
about tire wear, because you knew that these electric cars that have high horsepower wear this heck out of the tires.
Well, and it's more of a weight issue as much as
Yes.
anything else. And so you can set the car up with harder tires. The ride is not as
Good.
comfortable,
Correct.
right? And you get a longer tire wear, but you sacrifice comfort of drive. So to get the best drive comfort, every 10,000 miles, you need a new set of tires.
That's or less. He did under his
Or
breath
less.
say less,
perhaps, yes, depending upon how you drive.
but it was
Right.
it was not part of his shtick, the question that you asked him,
Right.
because it was different than what he normally was telling us.
How many people that buy a new car think about the tires?
Well, Frank does.
But
Frank
they-
picks up washers or nuts inside the trunk and hands it to the salesperson. Golly sakes.
Yikes.
Oh,
All right.
brutal.
So we've got 5 minutes before our next break. So
Let me just go into some of
Yes.
my findings because
Okay.
I'm just chomping at the bit to talk about it.
Yeah, I know you are.
Okay.
Go.
If a Tesla loses one of its cameras in the front, visual cameras,
Mhm.
a service technician comes out usually within, well, if it's in a heavy metropolitan area, within a half hour to 45 minutes. So
Wow.
they say,
All
comes
right.
out, replaces the camera within 20 minutes, and you're off. Within 20 miles of driving it, it self-calibrates.
Okay.
That's a Tesla.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the Lucid.
Okay.
First of all, you have to take it to one of their service places, which can be up to hundreds of miles away because each service center is only in a region that's huge. Like Florida, I believe there's only one. It's down here in Riviera Beach.
Right.
It's an 8-hour job, and you have to calibrate every single camera on that vehicle manually with the
Whoa.
one replaced.
Wow.
That's telling.
It changes the dynamic of everything.
It certainly does,
Wow.
doesn't it?
Wow.
It's a game changer. That's huge.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you bought something up in Tallahassee, you'd be buying it from down here,
Right.
and a camera went out.
Yikes.
Now what?
So what is the lifespan of those cameras?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they fail. It's common.
didn't
It's
know
a
that.
very common thing.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, very common.
Okay.
So you got camera failure. One of the things that was shown to us was on the wall, or he talked about it, was that the battery management system, which is a huge module pack,
This is inside the studio.
it was mounted. It mounts where? Do you remember where it mounts on the firewall?
Yes.
Remember?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you know what's involved in changing that if it fails?
Probably a lot.
Like a whole week.
Wow.
They've worked down a week.
Wow.
The whole front of the car comes apart. The
Wow.
entire front of the car comes off.
Good.
It was not built for service. It was built for perfection and performance. Remember their heritage. Where's Lucid's heritage?
California.
Racing,
Mhm.
right? Racing. Don't they do the F1 electric racing?
Yeah.
The technology. Now, Peter Rawlings' son, he's a CEO, the chief engineer, worked for Tesla,
Right.
had a falling out with Elon, started
Right.
this company in 2000, I believe 13 is when it started.
Right.
Prior to Tesla, he worked with who? Lotus
Lotus,
Racing.
that's right,
Lotus
Lotus, yeah.
and Jaguar.
Yes.
Okay, so he has a racing heritage. He's the chief engineer. Built to win isn't built to last.
Right. Ah,
Okay.
profoundly accurate. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the BMS, the battery management system inverter, some people call them,
Yeah.
is a week process at,
First, you got to get it there,
got to get it there.
and then it's a week.
Not with Tesla. It's in and out within a day. Bolts in, bolts out.
Okay.
Do you remember the second thing that he showed us on the wall? Because I had told him about a gear set, a
The planetary
gear set.
Yes.
He was telling how small it was. Well, that's to their demise. They
Hmm.
fail. Tesla, on their propulsion system, the electric motor, everything is overbuilt. I don't know how overbuilt it is, but it's considerably larger, the gear set as well as the bearings
Mm.
on the motor, the propulsion motors.
So least likely to fail.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about the motors. On a Tesla, if a motor fails, front motor fails, the front front wheels, the motor fails. The motor fails and it burns up. They do. They have failures on both sides. Not Rivian, but Lucid Air as well as Tesla.
Okay.
If a Tesla fails, that's all that happens. You replace the motor. Do you know what happens when a motor fails on a Lucid Air?
No, what happens?
It
happens?
shorts out. It short circuits.
Hey,
It shorts out the BMS, which is that piece that's on the firewall we've already talked
right,
about,
right.
and it destroys the battery pack.
Ooh,
$70,000 to fix.
wow. Yeesh.
I wouldn't want to have to pay for that out of warranty, would you? Now, if it's under warranty, who cares?
Right,
As long as they give me a car to drive, they can have it for a month.
right,
Well, I think.
right.
But,
Wow.
and that's fact.
Wow.
I'm telling you facts here.
Woo.
That's a big issue.
Wow.
Big.
Yikes.
How about
Yeah.
changing part numbers?
Changing. How do you
They-
change it?
They change part numbers. Many of their pieces that go on to the build of the vehicle,
Yeah.
the numbers change mysteriously. One person I read claims it has something to do with so no one can track the failure rate of a part or
Ah.
etc. I thought it was I don't know about that,
That's
but I can
just-
tell you a
yeah.
little bit about their inventory management system. They use the same ordering system that Tesla uses and a lot of car companies use. It's a business to business not inventory, but parts ordering system with the tiered suppliers like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So if they need seats, if they need electric motors, it's an online ordering system.
Okay.
Okay, so you order the part.
It's not the Japanese just-in-time approach.
Well, it is.
Oh, it
So
is.
that's what I'm talking about. So
Uh-huh.
it's just in time,
Yes.
but something has to tell the person on the other end to get this piece over here.
Right.
Not inventory, but parts ordering to the vendors.
Right.
Okay. You are billed on that through the data. That's how they charge you as the car company. How much data transpires over their system. It's kind of like a cell phone usage.
Okay.
But it's a 50-50 bill. The supplier pays half, you pay half. Well, apparently they're forgetting to take off legacy orders and they're bloating over these huge orders that not only have the order that they need and the projection that they think they'll need, but they don't, and this is from insiders in the company, they've been leaving on old orders. So now they've been paying for this data transfer, even though it's a part that they used maybe 6 months ago, but it's still in that order that's going over to, say, the motor guy or the seat guy or the switch guy.
Ah.
Interesting. Factual. Okay. We got a big issue. I mean, it's a huge issue. Let's talk about production after we'll take a break first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Production when we come back. So stick with us. Hang on to your seat. Here we go. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. When we left off, we were going to talk about
Numbers.
numbers. Okay.
2022.
All right.
Lucid Air manufactured 7,180 units. This is a year ago.
Okay.
They sold 4,400 they sold 4,469.
Okay.
So they sold, they're shy 3,000.
Okay.
So there's 3,000, 2022 sitting around somewhere.
Okay.
Unsold.
Unsold.
This is real.
Okay.
2023, which is this current year, we're in the third quarter.
Yes.
Right. We're going into the third quarter. This is current up till probably a week ago.
All right.
They have built 4,487 and they have sold 2,800.
Whoa.
Okay, now you combine these numbers together. You've got rough. This is rough. I just did math quick. 11,700 total units made between 2 years. 11,000, and they have sold 7,300. We are shy 4,400 units, and
Still
they
yet to be sold.
Oh, they're sitting in the Arizona sun somewhere.
Wow.
Dude, that's a lot of cars.
Yeah. Yikes.
It's damning, it's telling, and it tells me everything.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a big problem. You can't run a business with that kind of numbers.
Yeah.
Unless you've got deep pockets. But wait, they do.
No.
Saudi Arabia owns half of them.
Wow. So there it is. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia came in a couple of years ago and bailed them out with half ownership. Their stock, let's talk about the stock price. It's nothing but bad, actually. Well, the IPO was $9.
Okay. It went up to 14, which is when I
No,
bought
the high was 53.
Oh, 53.
That was with the Saudi buyout.
Oh.
High 53. It's now 7. You own it at 14.
Yeah.
Which isn't that. I mean,
It's a loss, but
it's
not that.
It's not buying it at 53.
Yeah.
The numbers really, I find it disturbing. They got that many numbers. Now you're poking the bear every time you ask them a question. You asked them about this ordering thing, and you kept going on about it.
Yeah.
Like you knew something.
Yeah, but I didn't.
But it was everything I've touched on. You somehow
put my finger on something.
You did every time you put your finger on everything that we did on this, like what I would call fabulous experience.
Yeah.
There was something that you detected.
Yes.
And you kept going on it. Production numbers, right?
Yeah.
You asked about the lights, we talked about.
Yes.
Okay. You've asked about ordering, how long it takes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He said 3 weeks.
Oh, well, I think they just takes them 3 weeks to walk through 4,000 cars to see which one matches your order. And then they got to change the no. It's
wow.
There are deals being made at Lucid Air with cars. You can make offers. They take offers.
Nice.
On the cars. Recently, I'm not saying recently. A year ago, they fired 1,400 employees.
Wow.
At the time they fired the 1,400, the remaining ones, they offered them a sweetheart deal if they would buy one of their cars that they make. This is true.
Okay.
So, and rumor has it, you can lowball them on the price.
Okay.
Interesting.
If cash is king.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I
Yes.
read.
Okay.
Now,
yeah.
but
that's a
the
rumor.
presentation I got, I didn't get that feeling.
I didn't get that sense at all.
But
they will lease it to you.
Yeah, but you could, I bet you the 80 what's the entry level price? We didn't talk about price.
87 is entry level, and that's the bare bones one without the leather interior and the wood. They give you plastic composites.
I bet you could buy one for 62. I bet you.
Wow.
I bet you.
So that would be comparable to the Model S.
I bet you.
Right.
I bet you that if you went in there
That's
and
the
said that
side by
you
side.
were getting ready to buy a Model S, they would match the offer. I bet you.
Right.
I bet you.
During the course of our conversation with the salesman.
Oh, you poked the bear again on the Model S. You were, you did.
I did.
Yes.
I did really.
Yeah.
But during that conversation, I wanted to know what the comparative product, was to the Model S. He said compares favorably against the Model S, and he explained why.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I would say it's a
superior in its fit and finish.
Yeah, but if something breaks,
yikes.
The service thing is scary.
Right.
There's only one service center.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm in Tampa,
whoa,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Do they give you another one, or are you going to go back driving a gasoline car?
It's a
I
Yeah.
don't know,
yeah. I don't. Yeah.
but all favorable from my review of the car.
Right.
But once I looked into service interval, the service on it, what it cost to replace some common items, and when I found out the inventory numbers, I have to raise a flag and tell everyone
Right.
there seems to be a problem.
Right. Interesting.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, they're supposed to have an SUV coming out. Here's another comment thing.
Now they have a partnership that salesman told
There's
us.
a plus side here.
Mhm.
You go ahead and tell it.
So they went ahead and entered recently into an agreement with Aston Martin in England,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to provide them with the electronic components for the upcoming Aston Martins.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's great. So I mean, they're a new company,
Right.
but I will tell you this: they're not new compared to Tesla.
No.
So early adopters aren't buying that car.
Yeah.
They're not going to put up with this
Yeah.
BMS failing or the motor failing and taking everything out down a month. They're not going to put up with it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Okay. Here's another thing. Do you know what in the the internal combustion engine? What is the biggest declining market?
Declining market in
If you segment the gasoline engine, whether SUV, mid-size compact, large SUV, luxury sedan, mid sedan. Do you know what is the fastest decreasing market share of any segment? Luxury sedan.
luxury sedan.
And what did they start with?
Yeah, luxury sedan.
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, you don't.
And that's why Rivian went with pickup trucks.
Yeah, you don't start a startup company selling and coming up with the greatest thing, but in a market that's decreasing. Nobody wants them.
Right.
Nobody wants a sedan.
Right.
Everybody wants an SUV. And if you are going to make a sedan, it better be an entry level like Tesla did. And that was the other thing I've read. Lucid screwed up by not offering an affordable alternative.
Right.
That's their
But
mistake.
they're supposed to be coming up with a SUV.
That is a pipe dream from what I've read.
Ah.
It's not even close. They don't even have a prototype from what I've read.
Okay. No art renderings.
Well, they have all that, but
Oh,
they have no pre-production prototype.
Ah.
Okay.
All
Nothing.
right.
Nothing. So, it's my research.
All right.
It's not me saying it. I'm
Okay.
just saying
All right.
I'm high on the company. I like it.
Well,
Man,
they got it like you said, they're
infancy, but they have deep pockets. They've got Saudi Arabia.
so they'll kind of work out of it.
It'll work out. I believe so. But there's one side of me that says there's some deep issues.
Right.
There is some troubling issues.
Wow.
But I would buy it.
Yeah.
I would take it over a Tesla.
Oh yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
It's a better vehicle.
Yeah.
Hands down. I like everything about it. It's not self-driving. So that it is not.
Yeah. They don't want that.
And he gave a good answer for that.
Right.
He did. You drove it.
Mhm.
And what was your opinion of it?
It handled very nicely.
Yeah.
Considering the weight and the size of the vehicle, I thought the turn radius was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And because I wanted to put it through a tight
You did.
circular turn.
Yes.
And so it wasn't cumbersome at all to drive. So I found it, the regenerative braking does take some getting used to.
The lease on it wasn't that bad. What was it, $1,200 a month for
Yes.
the car? Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was going to buy one, I'd go in there with, let's make a deal.
Yeah. 36-month. And there's
What's the battery warranty on it? Do you know? I don't know.
I don't
think it's 100,000, but we'll follow up next week
Yeah.
with the truth on it
Yeah.
because I don't want to hypothesize.
Right.
No.
Right.
But all in all, it's a great car.
Yes.
Love the salesman. So far, the company, in my eyes, from what I gathered and sensed, it was well run.
Well, they answered the phones promptly when I called.
Yep.
Did not get that from Rivian. Still waiting to make a connection with
Yes.
them. So it's already Rivian's problem
Got some
child.
Yes.
So worrying about that. But yeah. So
And they were friendlier than our test drives with Tesla. Because Tesla was weird. They wouldn't answer everything.
Yeah.
You remember that.
Yes.
You remember they were doing some funk.
That's true. They were very approachable at Lucid Air.
Oh, yeah.
I
They
found-
answered pretty much Every question.
So
Except for that nut that you found.
You leave it to me, a wing nut.
Everyone have a great afternoon.
All righty, thanks. Remember, you can catch Todd at either one of the stores and you call him at 781-8000, either Palm City or here in Stewart. Again, 781-8000. Thanks for listening.